Namaste. Welcome to Jack Colley's Black Book. This is episode 48, version 2. Version 1 is still available if you want to see it. If you already saw version 1, this is going to be largely repeated information. But I wanted to be more focused. I wanted to produce a more focused version because I felt that this was important for this time and space where we just got done with the presidential election. And I want to start this way this time. I looked at a thread of comments that just kind of disintegrated into people insulting each other and staking their claim. I'm going to vote for this person. I'm going to vote for this person. And this thread on social media just really got ugly as I was reading it. And I scrolled to the top of the thread to see what comment started the whole thing. And it was this person who said, "I cannot believe the price of Halloween candy. Thank you, Bidenomics." So just that statement, and whether I don't know if this person said it as a joke or if this person was seriously thinking that she needed to chew out the president for the price of Halloween candy. I'm not sure. And I don't even know to what extent the president of the United States would control the price of Halloween candy. I'm not an economist, so I just don't know. But I thought it was silly. I thought, what a silly thing to say, and then to have it disintegrate into these judgmental statements, just criticizing, making everything, getting personal with other people on this thread. And I thought to myself, that really is what we do, though, what we have been doing. We cannot seem to be able to handle when somebody else has a different opinion than us. And so you have this stance on abortion, and anybody over on this side of the abortion issue is somehow demonized and not even human or unintelligent. And we do the same thing with our opinions on border security, on immigration, on taxes, on inflation, on what flag we fly, whether it's the Trump flag or the Biden flag or the Harris flag, sexual orientation, gender. We're on the red team. If you're on the blue team, you're a demon. No, well, we're on the blue team, or we're Democrats. And if you're Republican, somehow, you're going to take all of these statements and comments that are just labels being thrown around. Even electric cars versus gasoline cars, that's becoming an issue, that if you drive the electric car, you're automatically associated with all these things. And if you drive the gas guzzler, you're automatically associated with all these things. This practice that we seem to be observing in our country, where we just demonize and criticize people who have different opinions than us, just is really unsettling. And what I would like to do is revisit a slide that I made. We're going to go through this, I hope, very quickly. And I want to talk about what are some better metrics, what are some better attributes to look for if we are really going to define what makes a good human being and what does not make a good human being. I mean, if we're going to be judgmental, let's at least have some decent attributes and some decent metrics to go by. And the reason I'm doing this from the standpoint of the Christian tradition is one of the things I like to do. I find it a good way to really force people to look at things, is I like to point out inconsistencies in systems and in individuals. And so the idea is this: there are so many people that say, well, we're a Christian nation. And I believe that's a misnomer. I don't think Rabbi Jesus would endorse attaching that term to a government. I think that's a little bit odd when I hear that term. We're a Christian nation. But my question would be okay, well, if we are a Christian nation, then what are we going to consider a good human being? What are we going to consider a good citizen? What are we going to consider a good politician? What are we going to consider a good president? So let's take a look at this list. So we start with Galatians 5, and Galatians 5 is the fruits of the Spirit. It's the teaching in the Christian tradition that says we need to judge trees by their fruit. And if the tree is not producing good fruit, we need to cut the tree down. So you have a tree producing good fruit, which is heaven, or we cut it down and burn it down, which is hell. So what are the fruits that we're looking for? Well, we're looking for the fruit of love. We're looking for the fruit of joy, peace, patience, goodness, faithfulness, kindness, gentleness, self-control. And then we can take a look at this word love up in the upper left-hand corner. What is love? Well, again, let's look at the Christian tradition, because if we are a Christian nation, I would assume that this Christian nation's citizenry, is that a word? Group of citizens would hold this in high regard and make sure that our politicians reflect this as well, and we would be reflecting it with each other in this, quote, Christian nation, unquote. So here's the definition of love from 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. Love is not proud. Love does not dishonor. Love is not self-seeking. Love is not easily angered. Love keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil. Love protects. Love trusts. Love hopes. Love perseveres. Again, if you are listening to this and you consider us to be a Christian nation, then certainly this list ought to resonate with you, and this ought to be our expectation of what we have for ourselves, for our fellow citizens, and for the office of president. Let's continue. Matthew chapter 5. Who receives God's blessing? Who does God seem to look toward a little bit more? And these are called the Beatitudes. Who does God bestow favor upon? Put it that way. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who thirst for righteousness. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the peacemakers. Think about this. And then to me, this is one of the most sobering teachings from Rabbi Jesus found in Matthew 25. It's the parable of the sheep and the goats. And so the sheep comes, the king identifies individuals as sheep or goats, and the sheeps are good and they're going to experience heaven, and the goats are bad and they are going to go to hell, to put it bluntly, and that's what it teaches. So what is a sheep and what is a goat? You saw me hungry and gave me food. You're a sheep. You're saved. You're experiencing heaven. You saw me thirsty. You gave me water. You're compassionate. You're a sheep. You're saved. You're going to see heaven. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. You're a sheep. You're saved. You're going to see heaven. You saw me naked. You gave me clothes. Dignity. You're supportive even when I'm sick and imprisoned. The opposite is true in this particular parable. You saw me hungry. You did not give me food. Go to hell. You saw me naked. You did not clothe me. You're a goat. Go to hell. And it goes on from there. It's very sobering, this particular passage. And just looking at this list, if we are truly a Christian nation, which I don't believe we ought to apply the term Christian to a nation or an object or a business, and I've talked about this before. I don't even like the term Christian applied to me sometimes, because sometimes people jump to these horrid conclusions about what that's supposed to be. But look at this list and just consider this. These are the metrics, these are the attributes that we ought to be looking for if indeed we espouse Christianity. Namaste, my friends.